Chapter 1837 The First Demon God. Liang Yu rushed into the battle formation at this time, surrounded by tall mechanical life forms. Dangerous red light flashed in their eyes, and they had already judged Liang Yu as an enemy and wanted to kill her. Liang Yu waved the knife in her hand, and the blade rose. A black energy was released from the tip of the knife like a curtain wall, and it slashed from the ground to the mechanical life forms in the distance. Crack. More than a dozen mechanical life forms in front were directly cut in half, and the cut surface was extremely smooth. Qizong. At this time, Liang Yu had entered the threshold of the Black Chariot level after a series of battles. Her ability was the most simple and unpretentious. Strengthen your physique as a warrior and strengthen the warrior energy in your body. She held two swords and walked through the battlefield. The huge sword beams were the extension of her sword, and the sword in her hand was the extension of her body. Wherever the blade passed, nothing could stop it. Even the tough body of the mechanical life form could hardly resist her sharp sword beam. Fatty Su, Uncle Yu, and others, together with other members of the Fuying Force and the God Squad, fought in a corner of the battlefield. Uncle Yu's body was partially mechanized, which made his firepower output more intense and greatly improved the strength of his body. He stood on the battlefield like a human turret, launching an invisible bombardment on those combat-type mechanical life forms. Compared with the aliens, his fighting style is somewhat similar to that of mechanical life forms. The difference is that his firepower far exceeds that of mass-produced mechanical life forms, and his combat autonomy is very high. In Chernobyl, next to the six-winged king diving into the abyss, the demon armor Lordex sat quietly on a big rock. There were two huge swords beside him, one as red as blood and the other as black as the abyss. The surrounding battlefield was full of artillery fire, and various powerful energy fluctuations occasionally produced powerful storms blowing over here, but Lordex seemed to be unaware. He had no intention of participating in the war, but just quietly waiting for something here. As the left hand of the king, he is the last line of defense of the six-winged King Ichigo. The life of a mechanical life form is not valuable. Over the long years, the people of the Tsongjiyuan who transformed themselves into machines have died one after another and turned into the dust of history. They once had a large number of elites, all of whom were as powerful and talented as the 10 demon gods, but today, only they are left. He and the six-winged king are the last remnants of that era. It doesn't matter how the mechanical life forms are destroyed. As long as the six-winged king finds the truth, everything can be saved. The war is still spreading, and the whole world is paying attention to the war here, including Meng Yuanjun, Guanlongyue, and Shang Daowen, who are far away in Xinjiang. The heads of state of various countries and the top leaders of the alien organizations are all paying attention to this side. Hundreds of thousands of mechanical life forms formed huge walls to block the attack of the human coalition. But soon, these walls were broken through one by one. Jang E didn't kill the minions. He had the most powerful and accurate long-range sniping ability in the world, not considering Ho2's complex rule-based ability, so it was really easy for him to snipe those super-large mechanical life forms. The entire war zone where he was located could be said to have been destroyed by him alone. Because the targets were cleared so quickly, he even penetrated the super-large mechanical life forms in other areas one by one. The war lasted for half an hour. The human coalition was in full swing. At this rate, they could destroy all mechanical life forms in 3 hours at most. But Jang E felt something was wrong. He said in the chat channel of the aliens from various countries, "Have the demons of the mechanical civilization appeared?" Among the 10 demons, the number 1 demon A has not been seen since the start of the war. Jang E has fought with Demon B, so he knows very well how terrible the strength of these top demons is. The difference in strength between demons is not a step-by-step decline, but a huge gap. For example, the strength of Demon B far exceeds that of Demon C, who is killed by Jang E. Moreover, in that battle, he had a Karug who was as powerful as the upper demon. Therefore, no one can predict the strength of Demon A. However, the most terrifying thing is not that they appear, but that they do not appear. Because if they do not appear, There may be a greater conspiracy and crisis. King Arthur replied, "No demon machine has been found so far. This is very strange." Saladin's voice also came. "I can see the scene above Chernobyl in the sky. They must be doing something there." After Saladin finished speaking, he sent the image he saw to the chat group. Jang E directly opened the image with his eyes and let it play in the left front of his perspective. From the perspective of God, Chernobyl has been completely shrouded in thick black fog. The black fog is very strange and keeps wriggling like a huge black snake. Jang E kept zooming in on the image until he zoomed in thousands of times before he finally realized that something was wrong. Because he found that those black snakes were lines composed of complex strings. They wandered and entangled in the air, which was extremely complex and dazzling at first glance. "Although I don't know what they are doing, it seems very troublesome," Jang E said. He closed his left eye and aimed at a large mechanical life form in front of him again. Tear opened their defenses as soon as possible. The city defense sniper was fully charged, and combined with Jang Yi's precision shooting ability, it achieved ultra-long-range locking of the super-large mechanical life form. The large anti-defense force field shells created by the technology of the shield breaker spear, after a thunderous roar, the black light quickly crossed the space of more than 10 kilometers and shot at the super-large mechanical life form. With just one shot, the mountain-like mechanical life form was directly shot and exploded, half of its body collapsed, and it fell to the ground with sparks flying. After more than 2 hours of fighting, Jang E and others also took turns to rest, and they must adjust their condition to the best to welcome the final decisive battle. In the huge open space around Chernobyl, the ground had already been sunken and turned charred black. The remains of mechanical life forms fell to the ground one after another, and the fragments were everywhere. There were also human soldiers' flesh and blood among them, but the proportion was relatively much less. King Arthur held the two-handed knight sword that symbolized the honor of the Levent family in his hand and stepped on the charred earth mound. There were dozens of mechanical life forms blocking his way ahead. King Arthur didn't even look at them. He raised his hand and slashed them in midair. A huge silver sword light burst out from the blade, and a silver barrier rose from the ground in an instant. All mechanical life forms along the way were chopped into pieces by this blow. All mechanical life forms fell. King Arthur, Saladin, Indra, and others appeared together. Although they all had some charred marks on their bodies, which were stains left by the death explosion of mechanical life forms, everyone looked full of fighting spirit. They came to the most central area of Chernobyl, which was once a forbidden zone for human life and a dilapidated lost land. Then they all stopped in a place where there was no grass. There was a huge dark pit, and at the edge of the deep pit sat a demon machine covered in black. The number one among the 10 demons, demon armor, Lordex. Compared to other demons, he looks a bit ordinary because he is too similar to humans. Just with a body that is over 5 meters tall and made entirely of a special alloy, it makes people feel a tremendous amount of oppression. The teams of aliens from various countries' armies have gathered here. At this point, ordinary people are no longer qualified to get close. The white Labrador looked around and suddenly looked uneasy, whereas Chaos? Everyone's eyes were focused on Lordex, and they thought he should be the last enemy. Tension, excitement, and all kinds of emotions filled their hearts. After hearing Brian's words, someone finally realized that Jang E didn't come. In the chat channel, Jang E's voice came, "I'm aiming at his body here. Don't worry, my firepower can support you, at any time." King Arthur and others were speechless. Jang E's reputation was well known, and everyone knew that this man was extremely steady, but after having just witnessed his powerful sniping ability, no one said anything more at this time. After all, from the current perspective, Jang E's long-range sniping ability is stronger than his close combat ability. This is quite true. At this time, he had found a new commanding height, set up the city defense sniper, and aimed at Jang E of Lordex, able to give full play to his attack advantage as a user of space ability. In fact, compared to fighting alone, Jang E's ability also has powerful auxiliary attributes, which is often easily overlooked. There were no other mechanical life forms around Lordex, and he had no mercy on those mechanical life forms that died on the battlefield. Only when he saw so many top humans coming in front of him did he slowly stand up. A moment later, his voice rang in everyone's mind. That's it. If you want to move forward, I'll have to take action. The voice that goes straight to the soul is not a certain language, but it can make everyone clearly realize what he wants to express. Morana looked at him coldly. Don't you think it's too late to say such things at this time? While she was speaking, she was secretly in contact with Jang E. When the right opportunity comes, I will take action to control him first. Then let your little friend cooperate with me to take him down. No matter how strong the opponent is, as long as his body is unable to move and then hit by the rule-based ability, he will be taken down. Morana's abilities and Yang Xinshin's abilities are a perfect match. Okay, you decide the timing yourself. But I don't recommend you to make the first move. It's better to let others test his ability. Jang E put forward his own suggestions. The ultimate move must be saved for the most critical moment. Morana nodded without saying anything. Indra's eyes looked at Lordex, and 7 golden steps appeared under his feet. The next moment, the stairs became darker. Indra's eyes were filled with astonishment, which then turned into inexplicable horror. He said to everyone, "This guy is extremely dangerous. Be careful of his abilities." The name of Bharata Prophet Anand is known throughout the world. Although Indra is arrogant, everyone believes in his predictive ability. After hearing what Emperor Shirtian said, the people who were originally ready to make a move immediately suppressed the urge to kill. Your Excellency Emperor Shirtian, what did you see? Emperor Shirtian took a deep breath and calmed his heart. He just used his ability to backtrack with the purpose of testing Lordex's ability. But he never expected that he would be defeated so quickly by his opponent. He said in a deep voice, "He is not an opponent that any one of us can defeat alone. Now listen carefully. I will tell you what I saw." He looked at the 2 big swords stuck in the ground next to Lordex. The length of the swords was as high as 2 or 3 adults. Of his 2 swords, the black one can absorb the energy of attacks, and the red one can release the absorbed power and has the effect of breaking defenses. I can't confirm whether this ability comes from the technology of the sword in his hand or his own supernatural power. It sounds like a very simple ability, but it is indeed very useful information. After Emperor Shirtian finished speaking, everyone's faces became serious again. Lordex still stood in front of the huge crater in Chernobyl with a calm look and his arms folded across his chest. Even though he was facing a coalition of top inhumans that made up more than half of humanity, he did not act as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Even the 2 swords were quietly inserted at his sides. "Go away, your performance is over." Lordex's voice once again echoed in everyone's mind. King Arthur drew his sword. Retreat? That's not the way of a knight. At this point in the decisive battle, who can retreat? Chaos, cover our attack. King Arthur shouted to Jang E. At the same time, he exchanged glances with several strangers around him, and they understood each other's intentions. No matter what grudges they had in the past, they can now work together without any grudges. If mechanical civilization is not eliminated, disaster may befall everyone sooner or later. The Huashu kingdom had once experienced a crisis that nearly brought it to ruin, and they understood how terrifyingly powerful the underground civilization was. If human beings do not unite, they will perish sooner or later. King Arthur moved. He lowered his body and rushed towards Lordex like a snake. He swung the sword in his hand, and a dazzling light instantly burst out from the sword. Sword of broken steel, Excalibur. The 2-handed sword that symbolized the glory of the Night King slashed through the air, and the dazzling sword light pierced through the entire battlefield and attacked Lordex. At the same time, Indra also launched an attack from the side. The Dharma form of the 3 bodies allowed him to transform into a holy spirit with 3 heads and 6 arms, each arm holding a magical weapon. He pulled the bow to its full length, and the golden energy on the bow of Vishnu surged like a storm, eventually transforming into a dazzling golden arrow. Zheng. The bowstring trembled, and the golden arrow flew out of the air, disappearing in front of his eyes in an instant, and appeared behind Lordex's head in an instant. From a long distance away, Jang E pulled the trigger as soon as he received the prompt from King Arthur. A sniper shot that combined his most powerful supernatural power, Star Cannon, with his most powerful technological means, Divine Refining, attacked Lordex's face at more than 10 times the speed of Mach. With Indra's reminder, everyone tried their best even if they wanted to test Lordex's strength. The 3 white bishop-level aliens joined forces to attack Lordex's different vital positions from 3 directions. Looking at the world today, no one can avoid such an attack except Jang E, who is known for his absolute defense. Especially Indra's end of reincarnation, the ability that is infinitely close to the fateful ending is impossible to defend against, and it was the first to come to Lordex. The golden arrow was already at the back of his head, and one could even imagine the scene where it would directly explode Lordex's head. Just as the golden arrow was about to touch the back of Lordex's head, a huge black metal hand suddenly grabbed it. Lordex did not look back, and no one saw how he made the move, but he just stretched out his hand and grabbed the attack that was so close to him. Jang E and King Arthur's attacks arrived at almost the same time. A barrier opened in front of Lordex, and the holy silver sword and the black star-piercing cannon bombarded the barrier at the same time. A violent energy explosion shot up into the sky, and the storm almost overturned the entire land. At the same time, although Indra was surprised that his arrow would be caught, he still detonated it directly. The golden arrow itself is made of high-purity supernatural powers. Even if it does not hit the target, its explosion is extremely terrifying. Black, gold, and silver, 3 colors of strange energy enveloped the entire battlefield. Everyone's eyes were fixed on where Lordex was. They hoped that Lordex could die directly like this, but that was obviously unrealistic. But no matter what, an attack of this magnitude, which condensed the killing moves of the 3 top human powerhouses, at least showed how strong Lordex's foundation was. After the energy fluctuations and light dissipated, Lordex's dark body reappeared in front of everyone. His body was full of beauty, tall, thin and slender, with 6 blood-red sword blades floating in a circle behind him. He just stood there, his body still elegant and perfect, without any signs of damage. Even though he had expected it, he knew that the leader of the 10 demons would not be killed so easily. But seeing with their own eyes that he wasn't even injured still made everyone present feel extremely heavy in their hearts. Why is that guy so hard to kill? In the command center of Fremons, Bodhaja gritted his teeth and felt cold sweat running down his head. The situation was indeed unexpected. However, at this time, their ultimate weapon, Death of Love, is ineffective against such a guy. The technological level of mechanical civilization is so advanced that the information will be captured the moment the god of Death of Love is launched. It is almost meaningless to try to use the Death of Love to accurately lock onto a small humanoid machine on the battlefield. Unless it is in the center of the explosion of the Death of Love, it is difficult to kill this monster. Not to mention Lordex, a white chariot class enhanced mutant, would not die as long as he was not within 2.4 kilometers of the core area of the love-death explosion. If the distance is more than 6.2 kilometers, there won't even be much damage. Unless someone could quietly detonate the god of Death of Love next to Lordex, Jang E was far away at this time and had such thoughts in his mind. He was not surprised by Lordex's physical strength. When he was fighting against Demon C and Demon B, he realized how powerful the body of the upper demon was. Without Li Changgong's abnormal ability that is almost in line with the rules, it is impossible to cut it off directly. However, Lordex's ability is obviously not just physical strength, otherwise he wouldn't mind running over and pulling that guy Li Changgong over to use. Jang E was patient and skillfully changed the bullets to prepare for the second shot. Anyway, there are still many people on the field, and he will not use the Death of Love easily without absolute certainty. Because to do so, he needs to get within a certain range of Lordex to make the delivery. No one can guarantee that there will be no danger. The joint attack of Jang E and the other 2 did not achieve any effect, so the others joined the battlefield without any hesitation. Odin, the god king of Asgard, raised his right hand, Thunder roared in the sky, and a spear formed by lightning appeared in his palm. The more than 2-meter-long lightning spear symbolized destruction and judgment. It was aimed at Lordex in the distance and thrown away. The Eternal Spear, Gungnir, is an ability that cannot be avoided. Unless it is destroyed, it will definitely hit the opponent. As new strong men joined the battlefield, Lordex finally pulled his 2 swords from the ground. The black Devouring sword and the red broken sword. The lightning spear shot towards him, and Lordex raised the sword in his hand. The powerful lightning illuminated the sky. The ferocious strange energy and the dazzling lightning seemed to be able to destroy everything. However, when the tip of the Devouring sword was raised and touched the thunder spear, it was as if a black hole appeared at the middle node, absorbing all the thunder. Even though he had clearly obtained the information from Indra, Odin's face became extremely solemn when he saw with his own eyes that his unique skills were devoured. Lordex used the Devouring sword to absorb the energy of the thunder, then turned around and swung the broken sword towards King Arthur, who was attacking from the side. The power of the absorbed energy attacked King Arthur even more ferociously. The edge of the broken sword was too bright, and his sword was so fast that it was difficult to react. King Arthur knew that he could not dodge the speed of the sword, so he raised the scabbard worn at his waist with his left hand. Scabbard of the King. Whoever wears the scabbard of the king's sword will never shed blood. An invisible energy barrier appeared in front of King Arthur. The moment the barrier appeared, the thunder of the spear of eternity struck it. King Arthur endured the impact of this force, and a moment later, he was blown away. Is it possible to absorb attacks, strengthen them, and then release them? Let me try. This time, Jang E did not use his superpowers, but directly used a nuclear bomb. Bang! The roar of the city defense sniper was deafening, and the bullet, or rather the cannonball, accelerated in space and attacked Lordex. Dear viewers, please like and subscribe for more latest episodes. Thanks.